whole thing is disconnected. But last night I did get some good news on my screw up. All right, good morning. Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. So it is Saturday morning. We are, what is it, the 20th? So tomorrow is what, the winter solstice? Shortest day of the year. And then everything gets longer after that. And then it also means that's Saturday before Christmas, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. And today looks like it's going to be a pretty decent day. But we're going to end up down by the shop this morning. I'm just kind of taking a peruse. Looks like the bulls are going to need some bedding. Calves are pretty good after I bedded them the other day. I fired up the Mahindra. I think we're going to take it down there. But I also need a power source to run the pump to get some diesel out of the tank so we can put that into our torpedo heater, salamander, ready heater, whatever you guys want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. So we can run that at the shop. We ran out last time we were in there. Dad said today he was going to try and be a little bit productive on the farm. So I said, okay, well, let's start in the shop. Because I think we got to do a little bit more cleaning and then maybe actually try and get the trailer in there today. I think would be a good thing to do. So I think I'm going to probably take the big bucket off and either put the bucking plate on. Might not be a bad idea, right? Yeah, might not be a bad idea. So this morning and a couple weeks ago, we started doing a lot of work in the shop, cleaning up. It's been a long time since we've done a really good cleaning. So you can actually see some of the workbench. Not totally done. We got some things we got to straighten up a little bit. Got a lot of junk off of this table. Still some more to put away. Got Dad's tool chest where it's supposed to be, where we put his, that one is supposed to actually go to the farm. I want to put that in the tractor shed. It was supposed to do that like 3 years ago when he got this one. But you can actually see most of the floor. So major improvements. But we're not done yet. So we got the shop pretty dang clean. I mean, this is probably the cleanest it's been in like 2 years. Yes, we still have a little bit of stuff, but most of that is like screw boxes and stuff we just have to kind of tuck away and things like that. So Dad just took away the little bit of snow. I did most of it earlier. He just took the little bit that was right next to the door. And then we're gonna put the bucking plate on and bring the trailer in. Well, we got the trailer in here, so at least that's a step in the right direction. Steel has been over there for a while. So the plan is still to cut this somewhere in here. You know, our sheet is 4 feet high. We have enough around there plus a little section. So there will be a vertical seam here, but the idea is still to cut it somewhere in here, and then this, whatever's left rusted, will have to buff up and repaint. So, and then also maybe try and find some. This has a matte color to it. Try and find something a little more gloss to it, so it matches a little better. But oh well, it's in. It fits. It is such a tight fit with the door. That's why we kind of got to shimmy it in, and it's better with the bucking plate because you can lower the bottom and make that back end tip and go up or down or whatever, so it's easier to snake it in there. So yeah, got her in. All right, so everybody's fed. Calves are all bedded down, especially the bulls. Got a really nice chunk of bedding, and I definitely took care of the spot that they've been laying in the last couple days. It's like all 4 of them just like rotate in this one spot. I get it, it's warm, but yeah. So we took care of that spot, and that's just gonna take him a little while to clean back up a little bit. So, but I did give the bull, there was still some hay left in here. I gave him some of that bale. Partially I gave it to him like in the pen here so that he has something to lay on too. I had bedded him down pretty good a couple, it was like 4 or 5 days ago. And that's now gone. He's either beating it up or eating it. One of the two. So re-bedded him down. Plus he's got enough there if he needs it. Because he likes that better than what is in the feeder. So we'll probably swap that out. Throw that somewhere where it can just be bedding and just be done with it. Hey, good morning. All right, we are starting out in the shop. Dad will be along later. But we're going to start on the shop. We got to get a fire going. It's a little chilly, single digits outside, so single digits in here. Unfortunately, oh, that was on the whole time? Our radio that's been in here for like 20 years decided not to work anymore. I don't know what's wrong with it. So, looks like I'm going to have to listen to my phone, so I at least can, I don't know, listen to something. But I want to get a fire going so we can work in here later. The Packers don't play this afternoon. They tried to play last night, but honestly, that was a shit show. Lost against the Bears. I mean, I get it. You shouldn't be in a situation where you have to recover an onside kick. But when it hits you in the chest and you don't recover an onside kick, holy criminy. What the hell? You do that, game over. So, and obviously there's a lot of injuries going on, and Love got hurt, but honestly, Malik Willis did just fine. Quarterback was not the issue last night when the backup came in. So let's get a fire going, and then I'm going to start tinkering around on the trailer. As you can see, so this is completely, if you remember what the issue is, so this whole thing is disconnected. And when we found this issue, we literally found this issue the morning we were going to go. We hooked the trailer up. We were just going to check the lights and the tires. And all of a sudden I noticed, hey, this front is moving. And I pushed on it. And this whole front was moving. So we spent an hour and got there an hour later than we wanted to. Which ultimately wasn't a big deal, but you just had to sit in line for like twice as long as you needed to. The last time we did this, and this is what irritates us about this whole section, so we had ground down this whole entire section, cleaned it, got it down to good steel, cleaned it. We put like the nice, supposed to be the nice like rust stop Rust-Oleum paint as a primer. Like I think we did 2 coats of that, and then we put the gray over the top. That started to look like that a year later. So that was kind of annoying. We also had painted up all the wheels. And that one obviously did not do very well. So we want to kind of clean some of the things up. Like this thing's starting to like bulge. It actually ripped one of the welds to the inside. I don't know if we'll have to drill a hole on the bottom so it weeps out. I don't know where the water is getting in. I mean, it's obviously got to be getting in the top and then sits down there, freezes, expands, all that good stuff. So we just want to get this trailer functional, like decent, reliable, functional for a couple of years, and then look to replace it. All right, so I got that band off. Still got some of the screws in it, so I'm going to try and get those out because we used to use that as like our straight edge. Because Dad had brought that from work, they sheared it. So it's about as straight of a piece of metal that you can get. It's aluminum. So might just try and make it flat and set it back up in the corner and still keep it as our straight edge. The edge should still be fine. But you can tell this is pretty rotted away. So once we cut this away, then it'll be getting in here and finding out what is good and what's not, and getting down to good metal and But this project is the reason I had purchased the Arccaptain Cut50, which we've used it a bunch of times, and this is not a great setup to have the Cut50 here, and then Dad's Hobart, and then I've got the MiG 200 sitting on top. I did ask Santa Claus for a welding cart for Christmas, and hopefully there'll be enough space if I get one. If not, I'm buying one to put both of those on there, and then those will probably I'll probably park it here, so that'll be a little less congested in this corner, because it does get congested. But the Cut50 has been really, really nice, and that's exactly why I bought it, is for this project, so that we can come up with a line and then just plasma cut this whole chunk off. That Cut50 is way better than trying to do it with our torch, and it saves a lot of money using the Cut50. I mean, this guy was like $150. It was less than $200. I don't know what the current cost of it is right now. I've talked about it a couple times. I've posted a couple links, but just check out Arccaptain. They're a decent product for a really good price. But our torch, our air tanks and our acetylene tanks, yeah, that stuff costs money. It costs like $150 like a year just to charge that up, whereas the Cut50, hook it up to some air and away you go. I did go around and mark it just so we have visuals at 48, our sheets 48, and then 42, just so Dad can get an idea of where things are, and then kind of went around and made those marks so we can see kind of what all of this is going to either disappear or still be here. So yeah, furnace is ready to go. That guy's stocked up. It should be good for at least a good hour or so. And we do have a ceiling fan. That's like one of the best things we did when we brought this shop over here, because we did not build this shop. This shop is moved. A car dealership is actually sitting where this place was. They moved the house, and they wanted to either tear down or move the shop. And Dad knew the guy that was going to move it, so we kind of got a deal on it. But we had to do quite a bit of stuff, and I wouldn't say I was late for work that day, but I was like right on time, because right as I wanted to leave from work, they were coming down the lane with the shed, and there was no spare room. So yeah, so this shop was moved, but when we did it, we brought it here. We put that ceiling fan up there, and it's great for keeping all the hot air down, or like if it gets really, really smoky in here, we'll crank it up, open the door, and help force all that garbage stuff out. But last night I did get some good news on my screw up for the DNA test, because everybody got that 100K test. It's kind of the standard one. It allows our bulls to have offspring that are registerable. You need that 100K test. If you have that 100K test, you can have animals sired by those bulls can be registered. If not, you have to have that test done. It's really just to get sire verified, to help verify who's who in the zoo kind of thing. I get it. Sometimes I don't get it, because people should just be honest, and sometimes you just make mistakes. So far I have not had any where it's like, oh, I thought it was this guy, but it really ended up being this guy. But it does also allow people to, say, run multiple bulls, and then like, oh, hey, I don't care if they get bred by this bull or this bull or this bull, but I got 3 bulls and like 75 head or 100 head or something like that, and I'm just going to take the really good calves, I'm going to DNA test them, I've got all the DNA from the bulls, and you can just say, hey, it's either going to be this bull, or this bull, and then So it kind of allows people to do that, and then, or encourages that. I mean, obviously you could have done it before, but now if you have a bull, you got to say, hey, if you want people to be able to register calves under that, then you got to do that. We did that for Factor. We knew we were going to probably have calves to register under him. Plus, I wanted to know if he was heteropolled or homopolled, and also confirm he was a non-diluter. But since I made the mistake on the Dominion calf and didn't get his diluter test, reached out to Leoma Donsbach. she used to work at the ASA and handled things like total horde enrollment, like worked in customer service type stuff, dealing with a lot of that. But she started her own company, Data Genie. I'll leave a link in the description. If you guys have any questions or anything, she is really, really good on data collection and genomics and all that kind of stuff, DNA testing. She is a great resource, and I try not to bug her too many times, but I try and only hit her up with the simple questions that I don't know. But I reached out to her last night, and she said no, because I asked if I needed another tissue sample. She said no, because in the 100K test, there's a certain group of info that can be pulled from that test. But then you can do little add-ons. You can add on you get the sire verified, but then you can add on diluter, pole, coat color like homo black or hetero black, things like that. So she said, all I really have to do is say, I missed this test, or I want to test for this, and because it's part of that 100K test, they just have to rerun it and extract that data from that info that they pulled on it. So it only cost me it's $3 for the diluter test. But since that's the case, I'm gonna ask and get the 3 pull tests for the bulls. The more I thought about it, the more I kind of figured, you know what, that is a good selling point if they come back homo pulled. And honestly, there's only one that I'm really I think will be remotely close to not being homo pulled. But if they're homo pulled, then you can say, hey, homo pulled, take the horns off everything, breed the things to longhorns. It doesn't matter. You'll take the horns off of them. So I might ask for that data. It's only going to be 3 bulls, be like another $60 or something. I should have done it in the first place, but it's really neat to know that for those simple tests that are just add-ons to the 100K, that you can still do that they can extract that info from the initial test. So that's cool. I'll leave the link in the description for Data Genie. That's her company and her thing. But she's a great resource if you got questions on that, and you can check out her site and what she does there. I think she works closely with Allied Genetic Resource. They kind of take a different approach for like calving ease and like an all-purpose thing. Like they have some like scoring of it, and it's pretty interesting, but it's also a really good resource. They have really good bulls. You can order bulls from them, like a Gen X or a Select Sires or something, but they take a little bit different approach on how if you're looking for an all-purpose calving bull or something like that. They've got some different style rankings, but it's data driven. A lot of data driven stuff there, and they're good bulls. That's actually where we got Mike Drop from. So he was in their catalog, and they have a very wide selection. It's not just Simmentals. They've got Angus and Sim Angus and different breeds, things like that. So that's another good place to look if you want bulls. Okay, we're gonna see how this goes. We got it set. We're gonna cut it off at 42 so that we have plenty of overlap. Hopefully my ground works down there. No go on the groundo. Little sparky in here. As I like to say, here you got the shit. So I'm gonna cut this up into chunks so it's easier to deal with, and then yeah, we got a lot of grinding on the bottom. So that whole front panel turned into that. Not too shabby. Arccaptain Cut50 worked really, really well, and now we got a lot of cleanup to do. All right, so we're at the farm. We're gonna feed. I think I've got pile is set and ready to go. Nobody needs bedding, but one thing I'm gonna do is we're going to trick factor a little bit. give him a little bit of his grain now, and then I'm gonna lock him out of where his hay is, because then I can go in there and get that bale ring off of that bale, and actually maybe stick it in the loafing shed, because he can still go in there and he can use that as bedding and all that good stuff. And then I'll get him a nice fresh grass bale. All right, we got him set up with a new bale. Little bit left here on this mound here, and then I popped the shell off right there too. So he's got that, and in the loafing shed is where I put the rest of that bale, so he should be set and good to go with some nice comfy places to lay. Hey bud, you gonna go check out your new bale? Huh? Why don't you go check out your new bale? Go on. Oh yeah, you gotta play. That is part of the reason why I moved the bale feeder down here, because give him something to play around in. But that is some pretty nice grass hay, and he doesn't need second crop. I'd rather continue giving them the 5-gallon bucket of corn silage and the little bit of grain that we give them every day, because that also has other benefits. It helps keep him food motivated. I'd rather have a bull think he's going in a place because he wants to go there and not because we want him there. So yeah. All right, let's get everything else done. So this is always interesting. What the cows are eating right now, that's last year's bale. This shell right here is this year's bale, and I think some pretty good stuff too. So it just goes to show you, they'll eat what they like, and apparently today they like last year's stuff. All right, it is the end of the day, end of the weekend, so end of another video. It is a Sunday before Christmas, so I hope you guys had a really great Christmas and a very happy New Year. You know, a lot of family time, a lot of fun time. I'm taking a bunch of vacation, so I think with 3 days vacation, I essentially have like a week and a half off. It is the end of the video. I hope you guys liked the video. Please hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And if you got any questions, by all means, leave them in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Help support the channel and what we do here at Ohrmundt Simmentals. And as always, thanks for coming along.